The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Monday, September 29th, reveal Victor Newman sets a trap for Kane Ashby. Jack Abbott reaches out to Jill Abbott, while Billy Abbott faces yet another rejection. Nick and Sharon plan to visit Noah in Los Angeles. Plus, Claire Newman makes a bold move affecting her future. On Monday, Sally tells Audra that there has been a change of plans. The redhead announces that Abbott Communications may be back on track. The Young and the Restless, spoilers, say Audra isn't too pleased to hear this news, accusing Sally of forcing herself to believe Billy has changed. Then, Audra realizes they have to reschedule the launch party. Sally tells her they will have to put it on hold until they get funding back. This is exactly what we vowed would never happen again. A dismayed Audra says, "Here we are at the mercy of two men making a decision about our future." At the Newman Ranch, Victor summons Nikki, Victoria, and Nick to discuss Kane. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor tells his family that Jack wants to team up. Victor adds that they brought Jill in to influence Kane. They believe she can get close to him and convince him not to go to the dark side. Once Kane is vulnerable, they can attack. Victor insists that working with Jack is only temporary. Still, they'll have some concerns. Nikki is worried that Jill could side with Kane because she dislikes her. Meanwhile, Nick and Sharon think Victor and Jack working together could be a disaster. Are they right to worry? At Jabot, Jack is on a video call with Jill. The Young and the Restless spoilers say she assumes Billy has caused trouble again. Jack reminds Jill that she hurt Billy pretty badly. He adds that Billy believes she's given Kane a free pass. The stakes are higher than you can imagine, and Kane is behind all of it, Jack tells Jill. He urges her to fly to Genoa City to see what her surrogate has been up to. Billy arrives and asks to speak with Jack, so he ends the call with Jill. The Young and the Restless spoilers say he tells his brother that he and Sally made up. Then, Billy asks Jack to invest in Abbott Communications again. However, Jack isn't so sure he can do that. "You pushed me too far this time, Billy. You have left me no choice," he adds. Billy declares he's no longer involved with Kane, but Jack tells him his words don't mean anything anymore. Later, Billy tells Sally that Jack refuses to give the funding back, but he reassures her that it's not over. Also on Monday, Claire and Kyle bond with Harrison, who just arrived home from Italy. After spending time with the boy, Kyle tries to appeal to Claire to return to the way things were. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire realizes she jumped into the relationship too quickly. "I need to make my own mistakes and my own decisions," she adds. "I can't be looking to anyone for their permission." Kyle says it sounds like she's breaking up with him. Claire admits she needs to be on her own for a while. Later, she cries at the park and calls Holden. She asks if he still wants to take her to LA. The air in Genoa City is thick with more than just the turning of the seasons. It's charged with the electric tension of shifting alliances, corporate gambits, and the deep-seated anxieties that only family dynasties can foster. As we look ahead to the drama unfolding on Friday, September 29th, the city's elite find themselves on a razor's edge. At the heart of the day's turmoil are two women on very different trajectories. Nikki Newman, whose hard-won sobriety is being tested by a ghost from the past, and Audra Charles, whose calculated rise has just hit a devastating roadblock. Strap in, soap fans, because the stakes have never been higher. Nikki's crisis of confidence, a shadow from the past looms. Nikki Newman is the definition of a survivor. She has battled addiction, faced down corporate titans, and navigated the endlessly turbulent waters of her marriage to Victor Newman. Through it all, her anchor has been her sobriety and the unwavering support of her family. But what happens when that anchor is threatened not by a new enemy, but by the reemergence of an old, formidable frenemy. This Friday, Nikki is grappling with a surge of profound concern, and the source of her anxiety is none other than the legendary Jill Abbott. Jill's return to Genoa City was never going to be a quiet affair, but her deepening involvement with the Chancellor Winter's empire has sent a specific, chilling tremor through the Newman household. Nikki's concerns are multifaceted, a tangled web of past trauma and present-day politics. The core of Nikki's worry lies in Jill's renewed partnership with Jack Abbott at Jabot. While Victor and Jack have reached a fragile, albeit often tested, détente, Nikki knows better than anyone that the combination of Jack's ambition and Jill's vendetta is a volatile one. Jill has never fully forgiven Victor for the myriad ways he has undermined her, her companies, and her family over the decades. In Nikki's eyes, Jill isn't just back for business. She's back for restitution, and she's using Jack as her primary vessel. Victor sees it as business as usual. Nikki confides in a rare moment of vulnerability to her daughter, Victoria. But I remember the fire in that woman's eyes. I remember what she's capable of when she feels cornered or disrespected. She's not just sitting in an office at Jabot. She's plotting her long game, and I fear our family is squarely in her sights. This fear is compounded by a more personal, deeply buried terror for Nikki, the fear of her own relapse, the pressure of being a Newman, of constantly being in the crosshairs, has driven her to the bottle before. The reemergence of a powerful, motivated foe like Jill feels like the kind of existential threat that has triggered her in the past. She's not just worried about the company's stock price. She's worried about the very foundation of her recovery. Every boardroom battle Jill instigates, every sly comment she makes, feels like a direct assault on Nikki's hard-won peace. Her concern extends to the younger generation as well. She sees the way Jill is maneuvering Billy Abbott, and she fears for his fragile stability. She watches the tension between Devon and Nate at Chancellor Winter's, and understands that Jill's influence there could destabilize the entire company, creating ripple effects that would inevitably crash upon Newman Enterprises' shores. For Nikki, Jill's presence is not a single threat, but a contagion, and she's desperately trying to get Victor to see the pandemic on their doorstep before it's too late. Audra's ambition meets a crushing blow. If Nikki's world is one of simmering anxiety, Audra Charles's is one of outright freefall. Audra, the master manipulator, the queen of the corporate power play, has found herself outmaneuvered in the most humiliating way possible. Her dismay on Friday is palpable, a raw and furious energy that threatens to consume her from the inside out. Her entire plan, a beautifully wicked scheme to use Kyle Abbott as her pawn to seize control of the merged Jabot Chancellor Winter's entity, has collapsed spectacularly. She saw Kyle as the perfect instrument, ambitious, disgruntled, and possessing the Abbott name necessary to open doors. She whispered promises of shared power and a future where they would sit atop the Genoa City corporate world, and for a moment he seemed to be eating out of the palm of her hand. But Kyle Abbott is, first and foremost, an Abbott. And in the end, blood proved thicker than the allure of Audra's promises. He confessed the entire plot to his father, Jack, effectively throwing Audra to the wolves in a move to save his own skin and standing within the family. The fallout is immediate and brutal.